Hi, good evening. It's Friday, it's almost 9:30 p.m. I should have been live like an hour and a half ago, but I had to take a shower. And then I had to put groceries away. I had to put my groceries away and let my hair dry, so. Hello, good evening, it's Friday. Yay! Finally a Friday again. I'm so excited, I'm so tired. I almost moved stream to tomorrow. I accidentally unplugged my headset a little bit and lost it for a second there. It's alright, we're back, we're okay. There's sound, I can hear everything. And so, hello, I'm here. I need to put some Carmex on real quick because my lips are a little dry. But yeah, I almost canceled it and pushed this to tomorrow night. But I really want to play something tomorrow night. I want to play Final Fantasy VII, I think. And then do Fire Emblem Engage through the week. I need to go back to Kingdom Hearts as well. Had to say as well, because otherwise you'd think I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 2 and I'm not. I'm back to the first guy. Anyway. Alright. I got my controller. It's plugged in because I thought maybe it needed a charge. I don't know. Didn't know how much battery it actually had, but I'm using my Pro controller. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna see if we can finish case 4 tonight. I think there's a bit of a lag. Hold on a second. No. Okay. That fixed it, looks like. Okay. Trial Part 2 of the Adventures of the Clouded Kokoro. I hope you cannot hear that sudden tiny bit of crackling. Hold on. Hold on a second. Just a second. Okay, that's okay. I had to unplug my headset real quick. Oh, nope, it's back. Hold on. I think we're okay. Let's go. Now, remember last week what happened? Oh, I meant to take these back to me, Mom. I forgot. I'll take them back to her after this. She had to be a bag of gummy bears and I thought she was giving them to me, and she was not. Ha! That's me being stupid. Oh, we're doing a second summation examination. That's right. Forgive me if my voices do not match up anymore. By week, I am struggling to remember what voices, and I don't really like to go back and listen to myself talk. That's just a me thing. But I have considered the defense counsel's request for a further summation examination of the jury, and I have determined that the court must uphold the defense's judicial right to this procedure. So, counsel, you will now proceed with your second summation examination. I know I'm making him sound younger this time. I know it. I presume the jury is ready, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. I remember the lady next to him. I remember her voice. Very good. In that case, I must ask each of you now to state clearly and concisely for the court the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of this crime. Hold on, I need to see this message real quick. The juror's contentions. The accused left behind evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his. If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it? Dearie me, it was only a little book. Hardly life-threatening, even with a direct hit. Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pay tonight, I'll be in a tiny bit of trouble. Come to think of it, we had a fire at home a while ago. It gave me the sneezes. Oh, cute. That old man's cute. He reminds me of Santa. Yes. Considerably more tangible arguments from all members of the jury this time around, it seems. Forgive me if I change his voice a few times during this. I'm trying to get him better. With one notable exception, of course. My learned student friend was unable to find fault in the previous witness testimony. So the court must accept the fact that it was indeed the accused seen fleeing from the scene. And moreover... Oh! No one else was even at the scene to commit the crime. Well, if the eyewitnesses are correct, it would seem as if the conclusion is somewhat set in stone. I fail to see how it can be argued any other way. That means, I'm afraid, that during the summation examination, it's essential that you establish some other tangible explanation for the facts. But how? What would even constitute a tangible explanation here? Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman, and how? Those two details are all you need provide. Simply give us a name and a method by which the attack was conducted. And there I was thinking this might be hard. But, Mr. Naruhodo, you have to do it. Otherwise, this really will be where the trial ends. No pressure, then. That's quite enough preamble. Proceed with the summation examination, please. I think that's closer to what I had last week, but I don't know. I presume you are prepared, counsel? Oh, yes, my lord. All right, Ryunosuke, focus your mind now. He's so cute, I love him. Clearly, the key to the summation examination is going to be juror number 4, the maid. Or should I say, Mrs. Garrideb. We have a book that disappeared from the Garrideb's house on the evening of the incident, and the 4th book found in the victim's hand. There must be a way to link the two. Yes, that's what we have to find. Using every technique I've learnt in my short career so far, whatever it takes. Don't forget to keep an eye on Mrs. Garrideb and how she reacts, even to the things other people say. Oh, we can actually do that with the jury? It's left behind evidence at the scene. Oh, I didn't mean to hit R, I meant to press.
Hold it!
But as we now know, there were 4 books, not 3. Well, what difference does it make? There's every possibility that the 4th book, in fact, belongs to the defendant's landlord. Yes, that's the part I have a problem with. Sorry? Well, at the point the woman was stabbed, this landlord fellow was at home, wasn't he? Enjoying a fiery scrap with his wife or something, you said. That's not exactly how I put it, no. Well, anyway, the point is, the fellow and his wife were somewhere else when it happened. I think that's what you call a strong alibi. So it couldn't have been the landlord who did it, which only leaves the Nipponese fellow. Honestly, I can't see what all this palaver is about. It's no deal, isn't it? I suppose it is, since I have nothing witty to lead with, left to say. There was some other no, not R. I keep hitting R. Because I hold the controller in one hand and it's in my right hand. So, you might be willing to change your decision, you mean? Oh my, such a delight on your face. But I'm afraid I shan't be swayed by emotion. Despite what you may think of me, I am a very modern, metropolitan, and rational woman. Is there a reaction? That's great. If one reads the morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? So why read them in the first place? You see, modern, metropolitan, and rational thinking, wouldn't you say? Is that just the sound that's coming from her? And not at all extreme. As I see it, an overwhelmingly suspicious Japanese man has been implicated by overwhelmingly strong evidence. So despite one or two minor puzzlements, I do declare that the man is overwhelmingly guilty. Modern metropolitan and rational logic, wouldn't you say? Overwhelmingly. But us modern gals are always delighted to embrace new facts, you know. So I'd be only too happy to consider an exciting. Oh my gosh. So I'd be only too happy to consider an exciting new theory if you could come up with one. I'd be happy to do that too. If only I could. Let's do our very best not to disappoint the modern and metropolitan young lady. Right. I'm glad you omitted rational there.
Hold
It
it!
was closed, wasn't it? But what about the possibility that the window was open? What about it? I mean, there's just no way it could have been. How can you be so sure? The prosecutor fellow over there said it earlier, didn't he? Winters in London are no joke. You don't want to invite that sort of cold indoors. So, no, that window wasn't open. Us Londoners like sitting by the fire and staying warm, you see. I'm giving him country accent now, too. But you couldn't categorically state that the window wasn't open, could you? It just wasn't. They wouldn't have opened it. So what's the point in even having windows, huh? Counsel, you will kindly refrain from childish bickering. Oh, sorry. Somehow, be sure there's an undeniable possibility that the window was open. Because this young man isn't going to budge otherwise.
Hold it!
But the little book was on fire at the time, was it not? With flames of love, I'll have you know. There's really no such thing as a loving incendiary bomb. Well, he brought upon himself. It's playing with fire to betray a fiery love. Isn't it? Well, don't you agree? Oh, well, any kind of betrayal is certainly a bad thing, yes. But I think the argument might have arisen out of your misunderstanding, Mrs. Garrideb. Never you mind that. The point is we were just having a jovial little dispute, nothing more. And I won't have any more of these suggestions that it was anything whatsoever to do with this crime. Great. Well, we'll see about that. But what about juror number 5? He doesn't seem to be turning a hair to Mrs. Garrideb's relentless onslaughts. It's almost as though he's used to it. What a gentle soul he is.
Hold it!
You just want to get this over with? How can you sit there and say something like that? A man's future is at stake here. Well, him and me both then, like I said before. What? I told you already, I'm a day laborer, aren't I? If I don't bring home some readies with me tonight, you'll find me floating face down the Thames tomorrow. Face down in the Thames tomorrow morning. What? You heard me. My missus isn't one to mess about, you know. She can be fierce, believe you me. Another shining example of marital bliss, then. A situation like this cropped up the other day. It was, well, do you know, it's funny, but I can't quite remember. Sorry? It was too frightening, that's the thing. I must blocked it out. Helpful. Very helpful. I wonder if Mr. Beat will ever be dragged into the Thames by his scarf. Don't even go there, Miss Susato. There must be some way to jog his memory about this.
Hold it!
Oh, I don't know what applies to what. Does that have anything to do with your decision about the defendant's culpability in this case? Sorry, what was that? You'll have to speak up, lad. Could you tell us more about that fire? It was last winter. My grandchildren baked me a lovely cake on my birthday. It had 75 candles on the top, it did. What a sight to behold it was. You put candles on a cake? Was it some kind of devil worship? Of course not. It was an angel cake. To celebrate my birthday, obviously. It seems that's a common custom here in Great Britain, Mr. Naruhodo. Anyway, I mustered all my puff to blow them out. Only I must have blown wrong somehow. The flames didn't go out, but candles went flying all over the room. Furniture caught and everything went up. The whole place filled with smoke. Definitely sounds like devil worship to me. And by the sneezes, I presume you mean a cold. How'd you catch a cold from a fire? What a fiasco it was. The grandchildren, bless them, threw water over me as they tried to put out the flames. And then, because the whole room had filled up with smoke, of course, we had to open all the windows to clear it. That is via his comment. Put it in the comment! The windows. The biting winter air rushed over me like the devil dancing on my grave, it did. I caught a terrible cold from it and put me in the hospital for a while. I won't forget that birthday in a hurry. I knew it was devil worship all along. But something about this old man's story is playing on my mind for some reason. We need to demonstrate who, apart from Mr. Natsume, could have attacked the young woman on the street, as well as how he, or she, could have done it. Yes, but once again, the jury's statements are full of personal prejudice. A lot of them seem convinced they're right, even in the face of logical arguments to the contrary. I think you're going to need to pit them against each other to force them to accept an alternative explanation. Yes. Don't necessarily need to find contradictions between their assertions. Just a connection might do the trick. Alright, I'll see what I can do. If anything stands out, I'll go in for a strike. That's the spirit! So...
Objection!
I did it! These two jurors' statements clearly contradict one another. They do? How exactly, counsel? Don't point at me again! I told you it wasn't me! What's that you say? Speak up, lad, speak up! Juror number 3, do you see? Oh, me? See what, sir? Did you hear juror number 6's account of his birthday celebrations last year? It seems, despite being a Londoner, he once opened his windows in the middle of winter. Well, yes, of course, but it wasn't because it was an emergency. I mean, obviously, if the room was filled with smoke from a fire, then you'd be mad not to open the... Oh! Exactly. On the day in question, at the time of the incident, there was a fire in the Garrideb household. Mr. Garrideb had the following to say about it. I have a broken down. That's not what he said. The whole place filled with smoke. Oh, my hat!
Excuse me!
Juror number 4, do you have something to say about that? Mrs. Garrideb! Oh, dearie me! What is the meaning of this? How dare you imply that I'm hiding who I really am? It's imperative that you confirm something for the court. So please, it's time to drop the pretense now. What is it? When the fire started in your house that day, did you or your husband open the window? What? I beg your pardon? What are you insinuating? The room would have been thick with smoke after the carpet and bookcase caught fire as they did. In a situation like that, it's inconceivable that you wouldn't have opened the window. And what if we did? Oh, all right then. Yes, you're right. My husband was frantically trying to open the window, which can't have been easy since I continued to give him a justly deserved book battering. Even though your house was on fire? Oh, you never stop throwing until the anger subsides. It'd be terribly bad for the nerves to do otherwise. Of course, I should have realized. That's a significant step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. You've managed to establish the window was open. We simply must have that added to Mrs. Garrideb's formal statement. Now you mention it, yes, the window was open at the time. I'd clean forgotten, but it's true.
Hold it!
The fourth book found at the scene of the crime shows very obvious signs of fire damage. And the title of the book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Garrideb told us he had been reading. Hello! I am establishing connections and forgetting all the voices I made last week. I'm very tired. I don't know how long I'm going to stream, but I hope I can finish this. I need to trim my nail real quick, though, because it's woken on the edge. And I wish they would stop breaking. I have a cute nail set I want to put on tomorrow. I almost pushed this stream to tomorrow, but I was like, no, I need to do it. I need to do it tonight. Because tomorrow I'm gonna go do the love disc thing in Pokemon Go. Let me file my nail real quick. Alright, I think that's better. Well, I really couldn't say. On the day in question, did you or did you not throw at your husband the copy of The Lion's Pride that he had been reading? I did. It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I hurled it straight at him. I know you come to mention it, yes. He was rather enjoying reading it, you're right. Why did you not reveal this information to the court from the outset? Because I couldn't, you insolent little man. I couldn't remember. At times like that, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on as well, you know. I really don't. I barely noticed I was throwing a book,
boy.
much less the title of it.
Excuse me.
What is it, juror number 5? You know something? I've remembered what it was. The memory I'd blocked out. Ah. He was listening to what this granny was saying. Brought it all flooding back. Who are you calling a granny, you cheeky devil? I'm Mrs. Garrideb, or the maid, I'll have you know. The man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me that's not because he's so used to being hit all the time. Oh, that's sad if so. It was about 2 weeks ago now. I just got back home after work, like. I put my head in my pocket for the wages I'd just earned that day, and I nearly died. There was a hole. Every last penny had dropped out. Oh dear, what a disaster. You haven't heard the half of it, boy. Oh? The wife was cutting up some chicken at the time. Oh no. I could hardly get the words out, but I told her straight. I've lost the day's wages, love. Next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ear. Stuck into the wall next to me, it did. About an inch deep. Oh, Lord, sir. I'm sorry, but I think you should probably leave her if she's throwing a knife at you. No words. Just terror. I could smell it then, you know. That awful stench of the Thames. I was sure I was going to end up face down in the muddy banks that night, I can tell you. Now, that's a real disaster, isn't it? I'll never use the word lightly again. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. When women lose their rag, they'll throw anything at you. Knives, hatchets, hammers, you name it. Mr. Naruto, you mustn't think that all women are short-tempered and unrefined. No, I wasn't thinking that. Throwing household objects at people is, well, it's so uncivilized. At least attack with honor, using a bow or the like. What? Attack? Who are you going to attack? Never mind. Anyway, this man's words could be rather significant, I think. Alright, come back to the bow and arrow thing later. If I dare. I don't think you should, Ryunosuke. A woman in a rage will hurl almost anything at you. The kitchen knife really brought that home to me.
Objection!
She threw the knife out the window, and it landed in the woman's back. Those two statements clearly have a deeply significant connection. Good grief! You mean they don't contradict each other? Explain, counsel, at once! Juror number 2, do you think perhaps it's so hard for me to voice men, especially older men, that this could be one such novel alternative? Oh my, whatever do you mean? An alternative explanation as to how the victim was stabbed in the back. What are you talking about? We've demonstrated that the fourth book, The Lion's Pride, that was found at the scene of the crime, originated at Mr. Garrideb's room on the top floor of his house. Therefore, it's equally possible that some other object besides the book could have found its way from the Garrideb household to the street below. Ah, what's that now? After all, Mrs. Garrideb could have thrown any number of different objects at her husband. Isn't that right, juror number 4? What are you insinuating now, you little beanpole? She called him a beanpole. I'm beginning to think that ever since the true origins of this book came to light, perhaps she's had a feeling this might be what happened. Now you listen here, you Eastern Gala. I don't know that word. As the foreman of this jury, I demand a straight answer. You give us this yarn about some other object making its way out of the house. But what? What was it? The knife. I'm really taking a big gamble here. It was a bold accusation to make. I haven't any real evidence to back it up. But I'm certain, at the very least, this warrants further investigation. Alright, Mr. Foreman, I'll try to explain the defense's theory. The other object that found its way from the Garrideb household to the scene of the crime was the jackknife.
Take that!
It has to be. Juror number 4, Mrs. Garrideb. What? What now? I must apologize in advance for this. But I need you to confirm something else for the court. This knife. Have you ever seen this knife before? Oh. Good lord, counsel, what on earth are you doing? That's the weapon that was launched into the victim's back, man. Well, yes, it was. That's why we brought it up. My lord, remember that when the victim was attacked, Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb were in the throes of an argument. Mrs. Garrideb was hurling anything she could at her husband, who'd been backed up against the window. A window that meant open to clear the smoke, and through which a book sailed to land at the crime scene. You can't seriously believe that. The book was found in the victim's grasp. Are you saying that it flew out of the window and across the street to land neatly in her hand? Huh? Even my missus hasn't got a name like that. Yes, I admit, there are many details we don't yet understand. That's the point. That's precisely why we must not allow this trial to end. Not right now. Oh my. Oh. Mrs. Garrideb, your answer, please. Have you seen this knife before or not? Whoa, Oh, she having a breakdown already? Oh. She fainted? Ma'am. My lord. I wish to change my decision. I'm a woman of my word after all. Thank you, madam. Yes, I agree. I certainly didn't see this coming, but I just don't think it would be right for this trial to come to an end now with so many unanswered questions. Mr. Foreman? I'd have to agree. Not that I think the granny did it, mind. Yes, you know what? I'm not quite happy about this at the moment either. All together now, ladies and gents. We've turned it in our favor. We did it. Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo. So, as a result of the defense's summation examination, a number of jurors' leanings have changed. 2 jurors called guilty against 4 now calling innocent. Accordingly, the opinion of this court is divided. This trial will continue. Now then, Lord Von Zeeks, how does the prosecution wish to proceed? by pouring up some wine while I drink some Dr. Pepper. Ooh, I almost spilled my Dr. Pepper. This trial is rapidly descending into a farce. Like a corked wine, the first few sips are bitter enough. He's gonna catch this place on fire one day. But what follows is so repugnant it's good for nothing save the gutter. If I may, Lord Von Zieks, the defense has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened. Credible? Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defense's argument is a joke to which I barely know how to respond. But let me start by insisting that you must all familiarize yourselves better with the relative positions of those things being discussed. Of those places being discussed. What do you mean by that? It's single this time. It should be more than apparent that between the crime scene and the Garrideb household runs a rather wide street, Briar Road. And things can fly pretty far, which means that the distance from the Garrideb's house to the scene is some, yes, 15 yards. Let me see. 15 yards. It's around 14 meters. 14 meters? Oh, it's a little farther than I'd imagined. And as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightly noted as having portentous significance, the fourth book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, the smoldering book, wantonly hurled by the lady of the house, traveled some 15 yards to land on the opposite side of the road, neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumb. Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend? Did the jackknife follow a near identical trajectory to plunge into the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories have more believable plots. Oh, be nice. Iris writes those. There's nothing I can say to that. That prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice. Susako! Serialized detective stories are pathetic, are they? How dare he? Maybe let's pick our battles here. My lord, might I be allowed to speak? As judicial assistant, you may speak for the defense, yes? Go ahead. The prosecution may consider the idea fantasy. But what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court has a duty to explore this narrative, this alternative explanation, as thoroughly as possible. To that end, juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garrideb, must be called to testify and submit to cross-examination. Saints alive! A cross-examination of a juror? Yeah? She shouldn't even be a jury member! Legally, she shouldn't be. Well, this is highly irregular. It is unprecedented for a member of the jury to be summoned to the witness stand.
Objection!
Whoa. Bye-bye. And unnecessary. Lord Von Zieks? There are already witnesses in the stand whose testimony the defense may further cross-examine. If my learned friend's farcical theory has any truth in it, then both a burning book and a jackknife must have flown through the sky before the couple's eyes. And we must assume they would be able to testify accordingly. What say you, witnesses? Yes, sir. Constable Rolly Beat reporting for duty, sir. Well, good morning, officer. Sorry for dozing until now, sir. I haven't slept for a month on account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir. Oh, they're so heroic, these London Bobbies. Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more. Oh, Rolly, my hero, you make me swoon. Oh my gosh. Very well. I hereby reject the defense's request. Oh. And order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. State forthwith before the court any details pertaining to the defense's alternative explanation of events. Yes, sir! He's cute. They're cute. They're so cute. They're so cute together. Constable Beats report. This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb. Believe me, a London Bobby is good for his word. You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Garrideb house are top-hinged casements. Obviously, if anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir. Somebody's lying. There's something wrong. Well, this is quite startling. Top-hinged casement windows. I don't know what those are. I don't think. That detail is not in the police report, Constable. Yes, sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy. You cannot excuse your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable. No, sir! Sorry, but... what exactly is a top-hinged casement window? And you cannot excuse your ignorance with such trite remarks, my learned friend. Of course. Sorry. I found it, Mr. Naruhodo. Cast your mind back to the windows at Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's room. Right, I'll try. I see. So the windows open in order to allow air to circulate inside the house. Oh, okay. But as it's a top-hinged casement window, it swings open along the upper edge, you see. I'm glad you've rectified your ignorance. A casement window's most prominent feature is its stay, a metal bar which prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount. It prevents an opening? It's all news to me. Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife were to have been thrown through the open window, it would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below. No. You see the problem, then? Good. Your education of windows is complete. There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane had been shattered. Something we've discounted already. That can't be! Did you see that, Rolly? That young Japanese man just collapsed in agony. Oh yes, my darling, I saw it. I saw how he crumbled before me. Oh, Rolly, you're so strong. How is this happening? I haven't even started the cross-examination yet. Already my argument's been destroyed. Something is not right, and I don't know what it is. Counsel, if you drag yourself upright again, the court awaits your cross-examination. My lord. Oh, good. Another desperate situation. Jeez, sounds like somebody just slammed a door.
Hold it!
How can you say that for certain? A very good question, sir. And the answer is this. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to all us policemen of our sworn duty. He showed us that before, didn't he? Did he? Can't say I remember. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. That's what the job's all about. And that is why I can stand here today beside my long-suffering wife and tell you Bobby's good for his word. Overmaking my tired eyes, admittedly, sir. Oh, Rolly, you're so manly. course I am, my darling Patricia. Oh, Pat. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. Oh, my goodness. No. No, this is what I meant. Oh, can you say for certain that this case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb? Ah, I see, sir. You should have said so earlier, sir. Yes, well, so could you answer the question? That was a waste of time, then. Absolutely, sir. I will answer it to the fullest of my ability, sir. There's a surprising reason why Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's domestic dispute can't be related to this case. But before I get into that, sir, just one thing. Yes? I'd very much like you and all your countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland Yard. So I hope you'll take back some tales of us London bobbies and how we uphold our guiding principles. I wasn't planning on going back just yet. I've only just arrived here. So to that end, sir, I'd be happy to lend you my warrant card for your perusal, but I must warn you, you won't be able to get through it without shedding a few tears. Thank you. I'll try. Oh, it's been added to our court record. Interesting. I have to look at that now. I'm sorry, I got very distracted reading all of this. It's making me lose my mind. How are you, Melissa? How was your day? I feel warm all of a sudden. I don't know why. My room's not warm. Callie's asleep in a box. She's happy. Oh, look at this. Mine was fun. I worked all day, and then I went to Walmart, and then I came home. I had shrimp, chips, and salsa for dinner, which is kind of a weird dinner, but it was delicious. I don't know if this book actually is going to help anything. Wait. Any crimes fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. Huh. Aw, you're getting kitty cuddles. I thought Sora was gonna sit in here with me, but he didn't wanna. So he's either in the bed or he's in his box outside in the hall. He didn't know.
Hold it!
But he's happy wherever he is. He's trying to eat my dad's aloe plant. He keeps trying to eat it. So I went to see if I could get them cat grass or something from Walmart, and they didn't have any, so I may have to go to Petco or just order off Amazon. But I read that you can, like, spray the plant with white vinegar, and it won't hurt the plant and should deter cats unless they weirdly like the taste of it, so my dad may try that. Sora's a little brat and wants to eat things he shouldn't. By which you mean they don't fully open. Is that correct? Yes, sir. They're just there to allow a bit of air through the house, you see? So they're restricted as to how much they can open. And therefore, anything thrown out through the window from inside the room simply strike the pane and fall to the street directly below. For clarity, allow me to mark the map. Here is the location where objects would have fallen. Yes, directly opposite the scene of the crime, on the other side of the rather wide road. It had been so hard for somebody to mention this top-edge casement thing before. Well, I have another question for you, Constable. And what would that be, sir? How do you even know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house is furnished with? Ah, well, sir, that's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday.
Excuse me!
What? Why are you giggly? Do you have something to add, Mrs. Beat? Sorry? You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that? Oh, I was just remembering. That's all. We really were. So lucky. Lucky? What do you mean? Well, of course, I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. We were just so lucky it didn't happen on Rolly's beat. It was so close, you see. Oh, I didn't realized. Oh, yes, that's Straight Briar Road. That's the boundary between Rolly's beat and the next one. There's no right, my love. He's falling asleep again, poor guy. The constable beat. Oh, yeah, yes, that's right. That's the reason I was helping out with the interview and interviewing the occupants of the Garrideb household yesterday. Their house is on my beach, you see. So it really was cutting it close then. Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. If the Garrideb household is on your beat, does that mean that the pavement next to it is as well? Outside Mr. Garrideb's house? Yes, ma'am. The pavement on that side of the road is part of my beat. The one you've seen things that had fallen there. I see. I was unaware of that. Just think, if the woman had been attacked just on the other side of Briar Road, we would never have been able to go for that meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary. But that's the life of a Bobby after all. Extraordinary people are Bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners. Do you know what I think? I think it was the good Lord's way of rewarding my Rolly for all his hard work. Don't you think so, my darling? That must be it, Pat, my love. That must be it. I think perhaps we should make sure we have that information officially on record. Leave it to me, Mr. Naruhodo. I'll take care of it immediately. Ah, the case file has been updated. And now it's my turn, I think. See, if anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. But it doesn't sound like you did. But according to my notes here, the sun had gone down already and it was dark. Oh, but Rolly and I were strolling along, gazing at the night sky, looking for our lucky star. Sorry? The star that will guide us to eternal happiness. Can it guide you to answer the question? If a flaming book had cut across the sky in front of us, it would have lit up like a shooting star. And if I'd seen a shooting star, I would have made a wish upon it. Let Rolly be an expector, I would have said, 3 times at least. Of course, with the smog and everything, we couldn't actually see any stars. In short, I'm trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you. Yes, sir, that is correct, sir. As sure as the night sky in London is starless, sir. Certainly seems like they're telling the truth. And then we saw the poor woman fall to the ground, so we ran straight over to help her. Did leave the scene to go and fetch some help, but trusted Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed.
Hold it!
Yes, you said that you went to a nearby police box to fetch another officer, is that right? That's right, yes. If it had been on Rolly's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course. Don't feel bad, my love. You can't be expected to know the location of every police box on every beat. So Rolly told me the way, only I sort of got a little lost on the way. Patricia, my darling, that's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. What the heck? Why are they so cute? Oh my goodness. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. Oh my goodness. Oh, please. So, I suppose I was gone for about 15 minutes. But like I said, my Rolly was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed. Some duty at the time, of course, but a true Bobby is never really off duty, so... Can't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment. I don't believe
Hold it!
Nothing to report? That's correct, sir. I had my eyes wide open the entire time. Never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. I could swear to that on the yard's honor, sir. Really? Seems a little strange. Beg your pardon, sir? Strange, sir? Seems altogether regular to me. This burnt copy of the Lion's Pride was originally in the Garrideb household. So the question remains, how did it find its way into the hands of the victim? Can you shed any light on that, seeing as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time? Hold on, I'm thinking. Thinking. I have a thought. I have a very big thought that I think may be what happened. Either roads are being mixed up and she was under the Garrideb's household when things flew out, or she was moved. Well, she would have been moved either way in the end. She was moved from under the Garrideb's house to across the street. Somebody moved her to blame Soseki. That's my thought. Aha! Could it be a different copy, sir? Well, that just happened to be burnt as well? Even if that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? As we can see from this photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder. Well, sir, that book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene. Is that so? There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. Two mysteries of how that knife ended up in her back and how that book ended up in her hand. There must be some common thread between them. Oh. Can I ask you something? Please, Mr. Lawyer, sir. Oh, yes, of course. What is it? You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell. What? I wasn't really, I mean, what's she doing? Please, just because I'm a woman, it doesn't make my testimony any less valuable. You might just see me as the wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman of my word, I am. I really don't remember ever suggesting that I doubted you. No excuses, I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard. My lord, you will let me speak, won't you? Yes, Mrs. Beat, I will allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desire. Sometimes the path of least resistance is the sage one. That was a very loud mutter. I heard that. That Japanese man thinks a policeman's wife's word counts for nothing, does he? Well, watch out, sir. I'm gonna let you get away with something like that, but my Rolly won't. Duly noted, Mrs. Beat. Please, I humbly ask you to continue. What could she possibly be about to say, I wonder? Notice how my eyes never let me down. My sense of direction is a little off sometimes, though.
Hold it!
Mrs. Beat, nobody's questioning what you've told us. I saw it, I did. That evening, I saw it clearly. That little Eastern man with the whiskers and the funny curved back slinking away from the scene. And I know what I didn't see as well. I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky. All very clear. You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction. Oh, yes, well, that's a little embarrassing, really. I'm always ending up at the wrong place when I've made arrangements to meet Rolly. He gets ever so cross. Oh.
Excuse me!
Constable Beat, is there a problem? No, sir, no problem, sir. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind, perhaps? Oh, well, in a way, sir, yes, sir. I was just remembering that the same thing happened that evening is all. You mean Mrs. Beat lost her way on the night of the incident? Well, you see, I sent her off to find a police box in the next beat over from mine. She was gone a fair bit longer than I was expecting. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes, but my darling was gone a good 15. Oh, such a tease. But the reason I was gone so long... But the reason I was so long was because of the bouquet, silly. The bouquet? Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about? Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Broly's so romantic. He saved up for it with farthings and halfpennies he found in the gutter while doing his rounds. Yes, how romantic. I'd forgotten all about it until just now. Had you, my darling? Ah. Oh, yes. But that was just between us. No talking about to anyone else, darling. You have to promise. Really? Oh. What was that all about? Constable Beat looked very obviously troubled during that exchange. I'm afraid I can't offer any useful insight, Mr. Naruhodo. But I'm quite sure of one thing. We have to ask Mrs. Beat about the bouquet. What is happening? Mrs. Beat, the bouquet you just mentioned. I'd like you to add details about it to your testimony, please. Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to.